Hey, welcome back to Bridal Sewing Techniques, and today we're doing Sewing Q&A number 2. That's right, I'm going to answer all of the frequently asked questions that you guys have been throwing at me lately. Are you someone who has experience with a mix of sewing but is looking to get into the bridal niche? This channel is for you. It looks like lately the interest has been in financials. So we're going to delve into how to make money sewing today, how to make the shift from side hustle to full-time. But before we get to that, I want to go over my most commonly asked question, and it really has nothing to do with sewing. It is, who am I and where's my face? Well, my face is right here. But I don't feel like it's important to what we're doing here at Bridal Sewing Techniques. I feel like my hands and the gown and my tools or whatever, I feel like they're the most important things. So one thing that you will learn from me if you ever do a retreat and we ever do business consulting or whatever, you will find out that one of the most important things to me in business is to have crystal clear branding. So when I started out with Bridal Sewing Techniques, what I am is just, I'm a bridal seamstress who is just very aware of the shortage of bridal sewers in the world. And I want to contribute and pass this art and skill along. So when I saw what a huge need there was, I knew starting out with Bridal Sewing Techniques that my branding was going to have to be crystal clear. I have a very busy sewing shop. We are overwhelmed with inquiries. We get more inquiries than we can do sewing. And I'm not meaning that at all to brag. It is a practical problem where I knew when I started Bridal Sewing Techniques that it could not be under the brand of my sewing shop, that we would very quickly be overwhelmed, because we would not only be fielding inquiries for sewing, but we would also be getting inquiries about learning to sew. And I'm just not happy with all of that being in the same pot. I think it's very confusing. So what I have is I have two completely different brands. I have two different legal names. I have two different business names, two different brands, two different logos, identities. The way we serve people is completely separate. With my sewing shop, a lot of times people are really excited and they want to take pictures with me, or they take pictures while I'm working or whatever. I'm not a big fan of my face being all over the internet. I'm not like a fame seeker or an attention seeker, but I can't really help what people put out there. So there are a lot of images out there on the interwebs of me as a seamstress. And I felt like if I mixed in my identity with BST, if I mixed in my face with that, it could get really confusing and blur the lines between the two different goals and the two different businesses. So for right now, I'm just not showing my face. Someday I may. Someday if the scales tip and I'm doing more teaching than I am sewing, and I feel like it's not going to overwhelm one way or the other, then I may include my face, because I know as a student, you like to know who's talking to you, Do know though, if you do a retreat with me, we do have ways to handle safety. I don't want you to feel creeped out. You're going to be staying here a day or two, a week, a couple weeks, and you're like, who is this woman? Well, I'm wondering the same thing about you. Who is this person? So with that, we do have some safety steps involved. We first meet in a public place and things like that, so everybody's comfortable. So there's no creepiness factor involved in the retreats at all. This is just me being very measured and careful about the information that I entangle with BST. So yeah, you're never going to find me, vlogging out in front of my house the house number clearly behind me, my license plate behind me, and showing you pictures of my kids. Everybody's got different comfort levels, and I think that's nuts. I am not doing that. So, that has nothing to do with sewing, and there's no need for it. So there's all that. And let's move on to question number 2. I get asked this a lot. How do you make money sewing? Or actually, the way people would word it to me is, how do I make money sewing? Meaning them. It's actually a really common problem. I'll have seamstresses come to me and say they've been sewing X number of years and they work this number of hours a week and they make nothing. They bring home nothing or very, very little. Work almost full time at sewing as a side project, but yet it only brings in like $12,000 a year US dollars, which is, that's not good for something that's almost full time. You could go out and do just about anything else and easily make more than that. So, so people struggle with the financial side of making money. And I don't mean to get frou-frou with you, because I know there's a lot of motivational speakers out there, particularly on YouTube, and they are so into this thing of mindset. This is a big buzzword right now, mindset. You need to change your mindset. And most of the time it really is frou-frou. It's like, they kind of make it out like if you wake up one morning and you've changed your mind and you're different, the whole world is going to be different and everybody's going to come flocking to you and giving you money. It's not like that, but mindset is very important. And I have found that a lot of times for the seamsters who are struggling with how to make money with sewing, that the biggest change that they need is a mindset shift. A significant mindset shift, and that will include them sitting down and budgeting and working on their rates and things like that. And so, it will make a difference in their cash register. So it ends up having very practical, real changes that make money, that change the moneyscape in their bank account. So let me tell you about the change that needs to occur in the mindset. You need to wake up to the realization that this is a business. This may require some soul searching, because I have found a lot of seamstresses who thought that they wanted a business, a sewing business. They were actually, in their heart, they were a hobbyist. And they want to be charitable, and they want to help people and be a problem solver in the community. And they were using their sewing business to fulfill something in their heart where they felt like they were, helping people out with emergencies and saving the day. And people in the community just love them because, she's so good at sewing and she's so affordable because nobody has any money, that kind of thing, even though they just spent thousands of dollars on alcohol for their reception, or, the bridesmaids' dresses are $300 a piece. But for some reason, when it comes to sewing, they have no money. And the seamstress or seamster has not picked up yet on this, that they do have money where they want to have money. But they personally just relate to not wanting to be expensive and really wanting to help out. If that is the way you feel and you are using sewing as an emotional fulfillment, then I would say I think that your problem is that you're really not a sewing business and you're really not wanting to be a business owner. You really are wanting to be a hobbyist. You're wanting to be a, charitable community member. And there's nothing wrong with that. But you will eliminate some of your frustration with yourself. You won't feel like, am I a failure? Why is my business not blooming? Why is it not solvent? All that. You'll stop struggling with that side of things if you can see yourself for who you are and for what is really going to make you happy. So those who are going to make money sewing, They are business people. Okay. So, you watch me sew and you think, oh, wow, she's a seamstress that at heart, this is what she is, man. Okay. Yeah. But I'll tell you, after you get to know me in the back room of my bridal sewing studio, you will then realize, like, wait a minute, this woman is number one, a businesswoman. And then number two, she's a seamstress. So that's kind of the wake up call that you have to have. You have to say, like, no, wait, I am number one, I'm no longer uncomfortable talking about money. That this is a business, and if somebody wants to discuss money or talk about money, there's no butterflies in my stomach. I feel comfortable talking about it. I've thought every number through. I know why the number is what it is and why it can't budge, how it can budge if it needs to be budged, that kind of thing. So, yeah, so that is the heart of what you need to do. You need to figure out what you want to do. Are you a hobbyist or a business person? And if you're a business person, you need to quit acting like a hobbyist, and you need to sit down. And this is something I could do with you at a retreat, but you can sit down and crunch the numbers and figure out what you need to make, and you don't step off of that. If somebody comes in and they don't have the money, you give them a price for their project and they don't have the money. As a business person, your response is, okay, well, shop around a little bit and let me know, if you're able to make room in your budget, let me know. We'd be happy to help you, as long as you give us enough notice. Otherwise, I'm sure your wedding is going to be beautiful and I wish you the best. And leave it at that and let that person walk out the door. I tell my students all the time, you have got to be okay with not wanting everyone to be your client. I don't want everyone to be my client. There's a lot of people that come through the door that I'm like, yeah, they're not my client. And I don't want them to be my client because they're going to try to shift out of money all the time. They're trying to do some little shifty, shady little thing to not pay you. And that's disrespectful to a business. It's disrespectful to me personally. And I want to deal with people who respect me and want to pay me. I feel like it's a character issue. When I go to buy something or I have a skilled laborer come into my house to do some work, I want to pay them. That's part of my respect and my gratitude to them. I would not talk that person down. So they're either worth it or they're not. If they're not worth it, I'm going to find somebody else who is worth what they're saying, and I'm going to be happy to pay them. But there's no need for cross words. There's no need for trying to do the hokey pokey with money. So there's that. So get out there and figure out who you are and what you want to do and get serious about the money, and the money will happen. I promise you it will. Number 3, how do you shift from a side hustle to full time? Yes, I get this in my email all the time, people asking about this. So I have a video that discusses this about, are you ready to sew bridal? I'm going to include that in the description down below. Okay, so that will be there. And then I also have some good information in my last Q&A video. So definitely check that out also. I feel like there's 2 different sides to this. There's a very technical business side, and then there's also a very organic side. And I feel that way a lot about sewing business. But okay, in the US, the IRS gives you 5 years to not make a profit each year. You have 5 years to either be, have your money in reverse where you're losing money or you're breaking even. And then after 5 years, they declare you a hobby if you have not made a profit yet. I feel like 5 years that they picked that number for a reason. There's something really true about that. So what I did is I had sewing when I started out as a side hustle for 5 years, and everything that I made sewing, I put back in the business. I invested back into it so that when it came time for me to truly open my doors full time as a seamster, I had all the equipment that I needed. I had money to rent a little place. Lots of, there's lots of affordable little places that you can find to rent. A lot of seamsters start out like in vendor malls or in a co-op situation. If there's a cute little boutique in town that they are, struggling to kind of fill their boutique, you can rent out the back corner of it and work out of that kind of thing. So you definitely want to be careful about how you grow and make sure you're making good money decisions. I was really blessed to never have to step out and take a huge financial risk. I feel like if there's a lot of risk involved, that it may just be a little premature. So, but you got to do you. That's just where my peace of mind was at. So, yeah, so I took 5 years, and I can only tell you about my situation. I took 5 years and reinvested the whole time. And then when I started my business full time, I did it debt free and made sure that what I made, covered all the bills, and constantly reevaluate your rate because your expenses are going to grow as your business becomes more businessy and less of like a little home side project hobby thing. You're going to find your expenses grow. So you need to constantly reassess your rates and stand beside those, stand behind them. Make sure that you're earning what you need to earn, because maybe the customer that's standing in front of you doesn't want to pay that, but there's probably 5 other customers behind them that will pay it. So just move the line along until you get the customer that's going to help meet your bills and is going to appreciate you. So that's my biggest advice for side hustle to full time, is to take your time. And then go ahead and let the bookings happen. And as you start booking more sewing, let that other job kind of fade off. You may need to leave a full-time job and pick up a part-time job. And then when the sewing is pretty much full-time, shed the part-time job. You need to be very, just really evaluate things as you go and just be really smart with your decisions. And you shouldn't ever face a major risk or anything like that. Guys, in the comments down below, please list me some other questions that you have for me to do for the next Q&A. I know you guys have them, and I'm happy to help you as much as I possibly can. So go ahead and put them down below. And that way I'll have it in one place, a nice little list for the questions you want me to do. Now, these questions were all like pretty philosophical in nature, so this is a little bit longer, but hopefully we can get also not just these philosophical questions, but some technical questions where I can do some rapid fire in my next Q&A and cover a lot more questions. Anyways, I hope this has helped you. Like always, I hope it has helped you. That's my goal. Please hit like, that thumbs up button. It really, really matters. Hit share. And also make sure you hit subscribe. If you want notifications, hit that little bell and you'll be notified on your phone or your email every time I upload. And just a little FYI for you guys, super excited. It looks like we're trending to hit 10,000 subscribers in the next week or two. I'm super excited about that. That means YouTube very soon is going to give me what's called a community tab. And that means that, like, let's say I wasn't able to upload a video, but I had like an announcement or something that I needed to make. Maybe I'm on vacation and traveling and I couldn't do a video that week, but I really had something I wanted to get out there to you guys. I could just upload a picture and give that little announcement over the community tab. I can even take polls, ask you guys what videos you would like to see, that kind of thing. It's very interactive, and it's something that will show up in your subscription feed. So the way this would work is you hit subscribe, and when you go to YouTube, go to your subscription feed. You know how you've got home, trending, subscription, that kind of thing that's at the bottom or at the top, depending on what device you're using. You can go to your subscription feed and you will see my community comments and notes and discussions going on in there. So I'm super stoked about that. I hope you are too. You guys just hang in there and keep on sewing. Thank you.